Jake Ludington here at HP Discover, and I'm here with Alex Froyo. And HP announced a recent partnership between the HP Helion Cloud OpenStack and Symantec. Tell me a little bit about what that is all about.
Well, actually a quite exciting announcement, and it is a joint announcement by both companies. Symantec and HP have a long-standing alliance relationship, and what we've done is we've taken the opportunity to co-develop, co-deliver, co-sell, and co-brand a disaster recovery as a service that will run on Helion OpenStack, on the Helion Cloud.
So tell me a little bit about what that looks like, because normally disaster recovery is not something that you would think of as a service, because you've got your kind of boots on the ground IT team that theoretically is going to bring you back from the disaster.
Well, and that's that. When you look at the kind of the anatomy of a disaster is if your on-premise data center in Miami, Florida, right, has a disaster because a hurricane just landed over the eastern seaboard. Most likely, your boots on the ground, their homes are affected, right? So, if you're thinking of relying on your own IT staff to support you at the time of a disaster and your data center, most likely their families have been impacted, and I think their priorities are somewhere else. Now, if you look at a disaster recovery as a service, right, you have this competent team of recovery specialists that are going to be taking care of you. They're going to be running your execution plan for you. They're going to be, they're outside of harm's way, and they have this. They are able to do the execution for you. And all in a very predictable fashion, because this is something that would have been fully rehearsed, fully drilled, right? And it's going to give the IT manager and the business, quite honestly, a very strong sense of assurance that this is something that will work, right? I mean, it has worked in the rehearsals, so why not is going to work on time that we do it for real, right? When the balloon goes up.
So when you say rehearsal, in a typical disaster recovery scenario, people may test failover, but they don't typically have a full replication of their production environment if they have like an on-premise solution, because it's kind of cost prohibitive.
Cost prohibitive.
So what's different about being able to do that in the cloud?
Well, in the cloud, you're able to go ahead and use basically your data is going to be replicated onto the cloud, right, into this secure compartment that is encrypted at rest, right. So your data is safeguarded, your system states are going to be safeguarded, and then when you do a rehearsal or you do an actual invocation, what we're going to do is we're going to instantiate compute at time of the declare. So we're going to grab, compute power from the cloud. We're going to build these virtual machines, right? These servers. We're going to attach it to your storage and your system state and your operating systems, and we're going to go, here you go, fully replicated, recovered system with 15 minutes of data loss or less, right? And all that in about in as little as 4 hours, right? Now you're going to get these this capacity that it could mimic. It depends what you want. Do you want to have full production capacity? You can, right? You want to have 60%? It depends on the level of amount of compute that you want to subscribe to. And it gives the IT managers in the business, again, a lot of flexibility, right? And again, nowadays with costs, sometimes you might want to do it cyclical, right? Like, listen, I need to have higher production capacities during Christmas, right? Because of this wave that I get to Christmas. So I want to have more compute capacity. In the event that I have a disaster declaration during Christmas, I will have full capacity. And then during the summer, when I don't have as many orders, right, I can scale down my capacity in DR. And that's the kind of the promise of the cloud, right? Is this elastic envelope that allows you to go ahead and have compute that can go up or down depending on your business needs, right, and the requirements of the business.
So in that scenario, why not just use disaster recovery to move your business completely to the cloud? Well,
listen, it's actually a very valid use case, right? So think of it this way. You are replicating the entire production environment, right? So, and you take your small outage, right? You bring everything up, and you can do a couple of simulations to make sure it comes up correctly, right? Because it's non-disruptive disaster recovery testing, right, at the production site, at the DR site, and then you bring it up. Once your QA is done, well, you can stay, right? So you can essentially you migrated yourself to the cloud, right? Now, do you want to stay at the recovery center for an extended period of time? Well, no. I think we would move you, instead of going, we'll put you in a VPC, in a virtual private cloud, Helion managed virtual private cloud data center, and then leave you there and stay, right? And be a tenant of a great service that we have.